sustenance will be the one that will be a kind of force on the increase on the population, that it will lead to the reduction in the population. That means it will lead to some kind of death in the society. Development or events that are now proving the Malthusian theory wrong, that the Malthusian theory is not totally right. We have some developments and we have some events. Number one, development of technical knowledge and mechanization, of agricultural and some other production activities taking place. Because recently, in some developed countries especially, the rate at which the agricultural production is taking place is very high compared to the olden days, because of the use of very good equipment and because of the mechanization. Another one is the changes in social attitude. Changes in social attitude like family size and family planning or birth control in all these countries, especially the advanced country, the developed country, is another event or another development that is trying to prove the Malthusian theory wrong, because now in developed country the number of family size is now reducing because people are no more giving back to more people, and the family planning or birth control is now in place and is being preached all over the society. That is another event that proved the Malthusian theory wrong. Also, efficient transportation system, that there is a kind of development that makes the transportation system somehow easy compared to the olden days, compared to the time past, that now make the passage, the transportation of materials, the transportation of people from one place to the another to be somehow easy and more convenient. Therefore, it makes it somehow wrong that the theory is not truly or is not totally right. Then we have industrial revolution, especially in Europe, also changes the idea of land as a fixed factor of production. We also have medical improvements. Medical improvement also is a kind of thing that encourages the population to be growing, because there are medical hands and improvements in the facility that will help the population to remain and will reduce the rate of death in the society and make people to live long and also to enjoy lives. Then we have opening of new colonies. The opening of new colonies like America, Canada, Australia provided the necessary land for human habitation. Therefore, the possibility, the claim that the resources such as land where people will live will not be enough is no more there. And the last one, interdependency of nations. The interdependency of nations for goods and services available in large quantities as a result of international trade, whereby the country or a state that doesn't have one resources or the other can easily access it from the other country. Therefore, the interdependency of the nations now make things easy and make them to really have a good life and enjoy life. These are some of the events and the development that has really proved the Malthusian theory wrong, and we need to let it make it known that the Malthusian theory is not totally right. It's something that is permanent, but the new development and the events that are happening recently has really made it wrong. As we have some development and events that has proved Malthusian theory wrong, we also have some development that really prove it right. And those are the development that we want to consider now. First one is the negative attitude, like the practice of polygamy, giving birth to many children, and so on like that, especially in some developing countries. Such practices has really proved the Malthusian theory right, because with such practices still existing, the rate of population growth will still be far increasing, and at a very high rate than that of the available resources. Also, we have the high population and low food production. In so many developing countries, we have a very high population the population is very good, is growing at a geographical progression, while the food production is growing at an arithmetic progression, is growing very slow. So such attitude and such development is another proof and evidence that malnutrition theory is very right. Also, difficulties in eradicating poverty. Poverty is inherent in many developing countries, especially, and has really proven extremely difficult to be wiped out. In that case, where poverty is still existing, that malnutrition theory can still be considered as a very right one. The other development or event that has really proved malnutrition theory right is poor economic development. Rapid population growth militate against rapid economic development, and it grows faster than per capita income. It grows faster than the available resources. Therefore, it has also proved malnutrition theory very right. And the last one is falling standard of living. The standard of living of many developing countries has fallen as a result of increase in population and inadequate management of the economy, of the resources that have been available in the economy. Though there may not be enough resources, there may not be many resources, but the inadequate management of those resources has also helped the standard of living to be falling, especially in developing countries. These are the events and the developments that has really put malnutrition theory very right. Now, the demographic transition theory is the latest theory that has attempted to provide a historical analysis into the population problem as we have been discussing from onset. It tends to explain the reason why all developed countries several years ago went through a kind of 3 identical stages of population history. And what are the stages? The first one is what we call the pre-industrialization stage. The pre-industrialization stage is a stage whereby the population of at that stage is either static or increasing or decreasing at a very low rate. Also, the population at that stage of transition is nearly stable. It remains somehow fairly stable. It's not something that's stable forever or something that's stable for a long period of time, but just for a main time. The second stage is that of what we call transitional stage. This transitional stage is characterized by the high birth rate accompanied by low death rate. Therefore, the population is increasing. At that stage, the high population as a result of number of factors such as industrialization, such as urbanization, such as better diets, such as higher income, improved medical services, are those that have really helped the population to remain some relatively stable or increasing, and people live a better life at that stage. The stage marked the beginning of demographic transition. Many developing countries are now currently experiencing what we call the transitional stage of population growth. And the last stages is that of post-transitional stage. The post-transitional stage is characterized by low birth rates and low death rates. In other words, there is a relative stable population in that at that stage of the population. That means with that stage, there is no high rate of either death rate or birth rate. The stage is associated with the developed countries that we have now. Those are the 3 stages that is now being developed as the latest theory to check into the population problems that we discussed. And these stages are the stages that the developed countries are passed through, and most of the developed countries are now at the last stage, which we call the post-transitional stage. These are the things that are really important for the other developing countries to really go into and to see how the other developed countries have passed through it and what they've experienced and what the developing countries are experiencing presently in order to see what to do and how to go about it, so that they will not have much problem when it is time for such stage. Now let's try to answer some questions under the population. The first question we have is, which of the following does not increase the population of a country? A. An increase in birth rates. B. Decrease in death rates. C. Emigration. D. Immigration. Second question. A nation with a working population that is insufficient to exploit its resources is said to be dash. A. Overpopulated. B. Underpopulated. C. Having optimum population. D. High populated. Number 3. At optimum population level, a country has its dash maximum population, that's option A. B. Aging population. C. Highest birth rates. D. Highest output per head. Number 4. Census of population is usually conducted every dash. A. Every 20 years. B. 15 years. C. 10 years. D. 7 years. Number 5. One economic implication of